Welcome to the Stressless Eating Podcast, where we help diet-obsessed and food-crazed women break themselves out of the food and body prison, end the dieting madness, and take control of their health for good. I'm your host, Leanne Ellington, and this podcast is about answering one question. How can you heal your relationship with food and your body and take a practical approach to this whole self-love journey, but without all that restriction, obsession, and shame, and without needing years of therapy to do so? If you want to know the answer, you're in the right place. All this information is 100% free, so please subscribe to and review our podcast. I've been on diets and weight loss programs since the age of 7. If losing weight were an Olympic sport, I would have taken home the gold medal by the time I was 10. You see, I got really good at outsmarting whatever plan or program I was on. I got really good at fake it till you make it and motivational pump-me-ups. I got really good at tricking the scale and tricking my stomach and tricking my mind. I got really good at living my life hungry, tired, miserable, and restricted. And yeah, I mastered them all right, but there was a major cost. Essentially, I got really good at outsmarting and deceiving myself. But it didn't just stop there. You know what else came about as a result? In order to maintain my results or feel in control of my body, I had to outsmart myself every single day. It exhausted me. It consumed my life. It consumed all of my inner thoughts. So if a friend called me to have dinner, my first thoughts would be, crap, do they have a salad there that would fill me up? Then one of my voices would chime in and say, well, if I'm really good all week and I do extra cardio sessions at the gym, then I can earn my cheat meal and feel really good about it. Looking back at the umpteen times this happened or the bazillion different types of situations that this occurred in my life on a daily basis, you know what I now realize? I was missing out on my life. Instead of getting excited about connecting with people I love, I was getting stressed about what to eat or how my body appeared when I was with them. Instead of engaging and focusing in on the conversations or connections at hand, I was focusing on what I should or shouldn't be eating and if I should get dessert or not. And instead of actually sitting down and gifting myself the experience of a delicious meal cooked to my liking in a fun environment with beautiful people, I was feeling guilty or anxious or pensive about food and about my body. So yeah, I had motivation and discipline and willpower in check. And yeah, at the time, I was indeed able to sculpt that rockin' body, that toned tushy, and that healthy lifestyle that I always dreamed of. But you know what else I had? It left me with a very toxic relationship with my body and a very toxic relationship with food. And to be honest, that toxicity had very little to do with what I was eating or how much I weighed. It had everything to do with my relationship with food and my relationship with my body. My whole life, I was so concerned with becoming skinny or hot, or again, whatever words I was using. I never realized how much it was costing me and my freedom. We talked about that in the cost of skinny, right? But food was the boss of me. I was a slave to my brutal workout routine to ensure that I didn't gain anything back. So like 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, the life and body I worked so hard for was actually at the mercy of food and exercise. What to eat and how to stick with it weren't the problem in the end. I learned that motivation and discipline game backwards and forwards. The real struggle was the simple truth that if I wanted to win that game every single day, it involved massive amounts of energy, grit, blood, sweat, and tears in order to maintain it. Because no matter how motivated or disciplined I got myself to be on a day-to-day basis, food and exercise still ruled my every move. No matter what size I wore or how much weight I lost, I still had a fat head sitting on top of my body, carrying around the weight of the weight. And it doesn't matter how much you weigh or what size you wear. If you have what I call a fat head sitting on top of your body, you will always be carrying around the weight of the weight. And most women think they have a weight problem or a food problem or a laziness problem. But I don't believe that any of those things are the real problem. Women indeed are walking around with a weight problem, but it's the weight of the weight that we keep talking about that's weighing them down. The weight of the shame, blame, guilt, and comparisonitis that usually comes alongside typical weight loss methods, aka your inner bitches. The weight of the plans and programs that cause you to restrict yourself, punish yourself, persuade yourself to do the things that you don't really want to do. And then the weight of waiting for the weight, to live the life that you want to live, to wear what you want to wear, do what you want to do, have what you want to have, and just be who you want to be. That is the weight that's truly weighing you down and keeping you on this roller coaster of a ride with your body. So how can you tell if you're using food and exercise as a tool to get yourself healthy, or if you're using it as a weapon of punishment, control, restriction, or shame? There's 4 different signs and symptoms that I talk about with my clients, and we're going to talk about all of them today on today's episode. So let's dive in. All right, so here is symptom number 1. You use food as a weapon of mass control. So when your diet brain is the one calling the shots, it's only natural that it might start to feel like food controls you more than you control it. And this is when food has the tendency to become a means for you to control yourself, compare yourself, or judge yourself. So examples of this might include, always thinking about, counting, measuring, or weighing food, constantly restricting yourself, starving yourself, or punishing yourself, always cutting calories or carbs or fat or whatever it is for you, using food as a comfort or an escape, feeling guilty after you eat, feeling ashamed because of what or how much you ate, feeling cranky, depleted, hungry all the time, or sad or emotional because of food. But it doesn't just stop there. For a lot of people, somewhere along the way, food became personal. And instead of it simply remaining an inanimate object like a plant or a thumbtack, it became a means of judgment, control, or comparison. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to make peace with food, and instead of using it as a weapon, to use it as a tool of influence. Now, notice what I did not say. I did not say that the solution was to go control food some more, or diet some more, or go on yet another attempt to lose weight. The solution is to make peace with food and change your relationship with food while you move towards health. And so here's what I mean. There's a lot of voices out there in the health world and all that, labeling certain foods as good or bad, right or wrong. But I believe that it's blanket statements such as these that add shame and judgment to a topic that doesn't require anyone else's opinions or feedback. Food is indeed a personal thing when it comes to your desires, your preferences, and what tickles your fancy, but it doesn't have to be used as a weapon or a source of judgment. And to boot, it's no one's business but your own. What you eat, how much you eat, and the way you eat is a personal choice. Food is a resource, a tool, and a form of energy, and it's no one's business but your own. The judgment that comes alongside food and what you eat is completely optional. And when it's there, it takes away the pleasure and connection food has the power to create for you. But if you start to call a truce with food, and if nothing more, stop making food out to be the enemy or the bad guy, and if little by little you remove the disconnect that you have with food and create some new connections, one day you and food really can become friends. And only then will you be able to use food as the powerful tool that it truly is. A tool for pleasure, nourishment, connection, and healing. And in the meantime, just let it be neutral. Just let it be food. Symptom number 2. You use your body as a weapon of mass control. Again, when your default brain is the one in charge, you might feel like your body controls you more than you control it. As in, you feel like a prisoner in your own body or a prisoner to your weight or your size. And this is when you might have the tendency to use your body to control yourself, compare yourself, or judge yourself, or to control, compare, and judge your body. So examples of this might include, punishing your body with workouts, obsessing over the scale, or letting the scale dictate your self-worth. Using comparison as a weapon. So whether it's the clothes you want to wear, your body type, or the number of push-ups you can do. Allowing your body to create a disconnect in your relationships or block intimacy. Using the mirror as a weapon to compare or reject yourself. Using pictures or photos as a weapon to compare or reject yourself. Using social media or the media in general as a weapon to compare or reject yourself. Using your body as an excuse not to do the things you want to do. Using your body as an excuse why you aren't happy, fulfilled, successful, fill in the blank. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to make peace with your body and use it as a tool of influence. Again, notice what I did not say. I did not say that the solution was to go lose weight, whip your body into shape, or try to perfect yourself in order to like yourself. The solution is to make peace with your body while you change it. And that's if you want to change it. And I know that wanting to change your body is, considered bad or wrong in a lot of the body positivity communities. But I totally disagree with that. But again, we're going to talk about that in another episode. But back to what I was saying, your body and your brain, they are miraculous pieces of machinery. Sure, they're also extremely complex, but if you start tuning into your own body, like what it requires and desires, you'll find that a lot of that mystery goes away. Unfortunately, most women are totally ignoring their bodies or spending their time shaming it, calling it names, blaming it, comparing it. You get the picture, right? But when you lay down the weapons of control, comparison, and judgment, it leaves you the space to use your body, your breath, movement, all those things to set your body free. And yes, I said use movement as a tool towards freedom in your body, not using exercise as a way to punish yourself. And that means things like changing your relationship with exercise, because most of us learn that whole harder, faster, more, no pain, no gain mentality. And something means finding something that you love, that feels safe to you, and where there isn't any judgment placed upon you. Because we all know what it's like to go to one of those classes or a gym where you just feel like you're being judged, right? It means things like, using the mirror as just a mirror, not as a means to reflect on the parts of your body that you don't approve of, and beginning to get to know yourself naked, again, which most women totally avoid. It means things like, changing your relationship with the scale. Because if you're gonna weigh and measure yourself, it's crucial that your self-esteem is not at the disposal of that number. And you have to change your beliefs about what those numbers do and don't represent. Something that, again, will never happen through a diet. It means things like using pain as a tool and an indicator that your body needs some rest or rejuvenation or healing, that your breathing or movement patterns need to be addressed, or that your nervous system just needs some love. And I get it. These are things that the health and weight loss industry are not talking about. They are throwing more and more diet and exercise plans at you. So if nothing more, stop looking at your body as a burden, a curse, or your downfall. There's people all over the world with circumstances far more life-altering than some back fat or muffin tops, And I'm not doing this to kind of diminish your pain, but really just give yourself a bit of a reality check when you forget these kinds of things. We all need that reality check every once in a while. Bottom line, you and your body, you are a tag team for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. So the solution really is to just wave the white flag, begin to make peace with your body. And if nothing more, just start playing on the same team as your body. Because then you can start identifying and eliminating all of the disconnects that you have with your body and create some new connections, ones that serve you and your happiness. Symptom number 3, you walk around feeling weighed down by whatever plan or program you are or aren't following. So if your game plan is sucking the fun out of your life and bogging you down, chances are you're never going to stick with it. And it's going to end up being another short-term Band-Aid, and you'll end up putting it in the category of, great, here's another thing I tried that didn't work for me. So examples of this include not enjoying your food or fitness plan, but committing to it anyways. Feeling like crap all the time, like having no energy, feeling grumpy, or feeling hungry all the time. Feeling ashamed of what you're doing to get there, like worried that it's not safe for your body or that you're setting a bad example for those around you. Frustrated with yourself for what you aren't doing or where you're not complying, because it's probably really hard to comply, right? Constantly needing a new fix of motivation or a fix of accountability because your plan is hard to stick with long term. Feeling tired, sore, achy, injured, or experiencing symptoms of overtraining. Feeling overloaded by information, like overwhelmed, confused, or like things are more complex than you want them to be. Or adding even more to an already overpacked and overstressed life. And we all know that the solution to overwhelm is not to add even more. So what is the solution? Again, it's about ditching the weight of the weight, ditching the weight of the journey that's making you hate who you have to be or what you have to do to get there. And then it's about finding out what would work for you. It's about experimentation and experimenting to find out what works for you, because no one can tell you that. Nobody can give you that or feed it to you. You've got to discover it. You must discover it for yourself. And so chances are that if you're not enjoying what you're doing or how you're feeling, it's not the right roadmap for you. Like, you need your own map, not a cookie cutter one size fits all. The solution is to, again, eliminate the disconnect that your plan or program is creating and find ways to create connection instead. Connection to yourself, connection to your body, and connection to the plan itself so that you believe in it and know it's going to work for you. In other words, finding something that you also enjoy, something that you wouldn't have to convince or persuade or coerce yourself to stick with because you hate it. I think that a lot of women think that change and transformation, that you have to be miserable throughout the process or that you're supposed to not enjoy the journey. And I couldn't disagree more. It's like, if you're not a steamed broccoli and burpees kind of gal, then don't commit yourself to eternal broccoli dinners and becoming a world record burpee-er, which I think is a word that I just made up, but you get my point. On the flip side, if you love brownies and lazy days on the couch, create a journey that enables you to include those while getting to your goals. And that might sound so counterintuitive to what you learned about health and weight loss, but trust me, it's how I approach it and it's how all my clients approach it. It doesn't have to be either or, like happiness or health, weight loss or enjoy your life. I say, why can't it be both? Experiment and test out a bunch of modalities so that you can figure out what you enjoy and what can make you a better version of yourself in the meantime. And I am not the best version of myself when I am grumpy and hungry all the time, right? Not only do you want to enjoy your life, but you also want to stick with it, right? And you never will if you're weighed down by the weight of plans and programs that aren't sustainable, enjoyable, or doable. It really is that simple. All right, and symptom number 4. You're waiting for the weight to go live your life the way you really want to. So thinking things like, when I lose the weight, then I'll wear that, commit to that, feel that way, be successful, happy, loved, fill in the blank. That's a sign that your fat head is doing the talking. And I'm not saying not to want more for your future. I mean, by all means, aim high. But if future thinking is causing you to miss out on your life right now, there's a good chance you're waiting for the weight to live your best life. So examples of this might include just really not being present, holding yourself back in areas of your life that you truly want to be moving forward in. So your love life, career, hobbies, family, because you're waiting till you're thinner or till you feel like you have it all together. Not knowing yourself, liking yourself, or trusting yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, or if you're disconnected from yourself, it's harder to create change in yourself and to connect to others. And if you don't like yourself, you're skipping a big part. It's one thing to love yourself, and I've found that most women do actually love themselves, but liking yourself, that is a whole separate thing. And a lot of women, they don't like themselves, and they don't even like to be around themselves. And if you don't trust yourself, if you don't believe yourself that you'll follow through on the promises you make to yourself, you're gonna have a really hard time creating that future that you desperately desire. So what is the solution? Well, the solution is to stop waiting for the wait. Do all you can right now to start influencing yourself, your body, and your life right now. After all, what do they say? Everywhere you go, there you'll be, right? So what would happen if you started living life right now as the person you think you'll be when you achieve the body that you desire? Like, how would she talk? How would she walk? How would she act? How would she feel? Get to know yourself. Learn to like yourself. Learn to trust yourself. Then that journey towards self-acceptance and self-love and body love, it will be a heck of a lot easier because your life is happening right now. And if you spend all your time living, worrying, or projecting into the future, you're gonna miss out on your life. Don't wait for the wait to start living your life as your most beautiful, powerful, and confident self, because I promise you, you don't have to. Bottom line, your life and your body are comprised of so much more than what you eat, what you weigh, or how many squats you can do. In fact, all of these measurements can be used against you as a weapon if you're not aware when your fat head infiltrates your headspace. You're allowed to want more for yourself. I say go make those changes, set those goals, and take your life to the next level. But don't turn into your own internal super bitch just to get there. And know when you're using food and your body or the experience itself as a weapon against yourself rather than a tool of freedom. Hopefully today's episode gave you the insight that you need to figure out what that looks like for you, and whatever you do, do not give up on your freedom. I used to think I had to live in that diet prison, filled with all that control and shame and stress, but there is a better way. I promise you that. So don't give up on carving out your own freedom. Don't believe the lie that this is how you have to live, because you are meant for so much more. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you heard and you're interested in breaking out of your own food, body, and diet prison, here's what I want you to do next. Head on over to stresslesseating.com. That's stresslesseating.com and sign up to watch the Stressless Eating webinar, where I'll walk you through the exact 5-step game plan my female clients use to conquer emotional eating, self-sabotage, and finally heal themselves from the restrictive all-or-nothing diet mentality for good, but without obsessing or spending years in therapy to address it. I've laid it all out for you there in 5 easy steps. Remember, healing your relationship with food and your body does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen, and we've helped clients all over the world take back their power from the food and find true and lasting freedom, while enjoying life and warm chocolate chip cookies along the way. To see if we can help you do the same, head on over to stresslesseating.com. I'm Leanne Ellington, and I'll see you next time.